So in this video we're going to be looking at Dungeon Shame, and you can see it's kind of in the middle between Scarebray and you if you want to run there. But the easiest way again to get here is going to be just by using the recall runes at the Brit Bank player vendor shops. They'll have books to get you here. Now this dungeon is the Elemental Dungeon, and it's got a unique item in it called the Dungeon Token. And this can be used to buy kind of cool masks and also a lottery box, which has various items in them. I don't actually know what all of them are, so if you're interested in that, the first vendors here are actually going to be what drop these. One of the items you can get is this Ancient Dragon mask, and you can also get a zombie mask, as well as the lottery box. And the dungeon tokens have a chance to drop off everything in the dungeon. So the first thing in here is going to be Scorpions and Earth Elementals. This generally isn't the best place to farm. The Scorpions are kind of annoying. They poison you, and the Earth Elementals don't really drop that much gold. So as a new player, I wouldn't suggest here, just because those Scorpions are quite annoying to fight. And Despise itself has a lot of better options for new players. But you can just run around here, and this entire dungeon will just have the Earth Elementals and the Scorpions within it. That being said, we'll go into this Shame level 2, and this is when the magic elementals start to appear. So you'll see we're going to have water elementals and air elementals, as well as dull copper elementals in here. Dull copper elementals don't actually cast magic, they just hit quite a bit harder than earth elementals, with the added benefit of dropping dull copper ore. So if you're interested in ore, that is a decent place to get it. With that being said, you can run around here, and this will start leading us down to Shame level 3. Now this dungeon gets quite hard quite quickly, so once you hit Shame level 3, you're kind of going to be in a very more difficult place to fight. So as a new player, I wouldn't suggest this, especially not on a melee without a barding skill. You're going to be fighting poison and blood elementals, which will do too much damage for just a melee itself to fight. So once you hit this teleporter, it's going to take you to Shame level 3. Some things to note in Shame level 3 is there's two ways to go. First of all, we're just going to go to the west here. And this is going to take us up to the Poison Elemental area, as well as the big mage tower that hasn't been put into the game yet. So these Poison Elementals will deadly and lethal poison you, so just be aware this is not a place for pure melees to fight. There is the mage tower that's still in process of being built, but it does have the mages there for you. This whole back area will either spawn poison elementals or fire elementals, so if you're looking to farm poison and you see nothing but fires, that means you need to kill the fire elementals first. Moving on to this back corner, we're going to see more and more poison elementals. And up here, they're going to share the same table with these earth, air, and fire ones. So you can farm poison elementals, but just be aware that a lot of the time it's going to spawn these lesser ones. So if you're coming to fight poisons, it gets kind of annoying to fight them down here. And then it kind of just dead ends. You can't really get around in a full circle here. So what you'll need to do is actually head back to where we came from. And instead of going west, we're actually going to go east this time. And it may not look like it, but we're going to pass probably the most dangerous portion or part of this dungeon, where if you're trying to train through, you have a very good chance of dying. Even veteran players often die here a lot, so just be prepared. And the reason is that the fire elementals, while they're not very difficult to fight, they actually cast up to level 7 spells, so there's a good chance that they'll cast a bunch of flame strikes on you and instantly kill you. And the other issue is they're kind of like lined up with these earth elementals who stun. So if you get stunned and then a bunch of fire... see, it stunned me right there. If you get stunned and then a bunch of the fire elementals cast flame strikes, you're just dead. And a lot of players will die right in this corner here, so just be prepared. You need to always be prepared right here to just get through it like that. I got pretty lucky there. They didn't even cast or stun me there. But again, that's kind of like the death corner of this dungeon. So if you're going to kill your way through, it's not bad, but if you're going to try to run through, look out. With that in mind, now we're on the other side of Shame level 3. There's again an unfinished mage tower here that just has the mages on it. And then there's a few more poison elementals. So the toughest mob on this floor is the poison elementals for sure. Now this isn't really, and again, they share the same respawn things with the fire and earth elementals. So you'll see there's only a few up right now. Just keep in mind there's not really any dungeon lockpicking chests in here. There's a few, but this is just not a dungeon lockpicking dungeon. So just be aware, if you want to do that, I wouldn't bother coming to Shame to do that. Shame is all about fighting these big elementals with a good build. So with that, we're going to move on. We can run through here. There's going to be a few more dull copper elementals here, and they share the spawn table with the fire elementals. And then you can go through this porter in the middle, and that's going to take you to Shame 4. The first things first is we're going to get put in this little room with the Nightmare and the Elder Gazers. You could farm them, or just run through them. Most people just ignore those. And now we're on to Shame level 4. So Shame level 4's got a nice big circle you can follow. It's got some air elementals here, a few mages. Starts off with the easy mobs. And then it moves on to the big mob of the dungeon, which is the blood elemental. And you'll start seeing them spawn right up here. So this area is purely blood elementals. As you can see, there's nothing else spawns in this area. And then the water elementals are above. So you don't have to, you can always expect the blood elementals to be here. You don't have to worry about clearing the lesser elementals to try to get to them. Some water elementals will spawn here. And then some fire elementals will spawn in the back here. You can just keep, or you can just skip right through those if you don't feel like killing the small ones. Following this circle around, we'll see a little patch of acid elementals, as well as a little patch of earth elementals. There's some bloods in the back here, as well as more blood elementals here. And then you'll see a little patch of fire and acid elementals, and then another patch of blood elementals. So that's generally the circle people will follow. They'll just kill around this circle here. And then by the time you get through it, unless you've got a very efficient build, usually all the monsters have respawned. So you can just keep killing bloods until you're full of gold or you just want to leave. And that is Dungeon Shame.